All right, Conversations with Garmamie. We're joined by Jamie Hahn, who's the owner of Arcana Martial Arts. Jamie, how are you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm all right, man. First and foremost, I just want to say that as I was just speaking to you right before this interview, when I read the Facebook post on the Arcana Facebook page, basically you announcing that you were closing the gym because of all these challenges with the lockdown, which we'll get into. It was that first moment where I was like, oh my God, no. Like I was, and for the record, it's not like, I trained at that gym all the time. It's not like I had any vested interest, but I know that this gym was one, in my opinion, folks, here in the Ottawa-Gatineau region. If you know this gym, it's one of the most unique, cool, positive martial arts dojos in this region. It was an apolitical space. Martial arts, unfortunately, tend to be political. And this place, anyone from any gym could go and train and not have to worry about all these nonsensical rules that other gyms push on. And you, sir, you led the charge. You created that culture, and you did an outstanding job leading that. And I want to say thank you. And I also want to say, I'm sorry to hear about this, and I think many people in the community are probably feeling the same. So let's start right from the top and ask you what led to your decision in closing the gym. Obviously, the pandemic, but what was happening? Take us back to March of 2020.
Sure. So when we started getting news about this pandemic, that there was a possible pandemic, we started hearing about how this COVID-19 was coming, and how serious it was going to be. We were one of the first gyms to shut down. We didn't want to take any chances, just simply because, for obvious reasons, we don't want to put anybody at risk, right? So we started with that. We shut the gym down. Everybody took a break. I took a month off. After about a month, I ended up going kind of back into the gym by myself. I started, cleaning, renovating, freshening up the gym, for whenever it was time to reopen, right? So I invested a lot of time and money into getting the gym back to, I guess, like further improvements, right? One that reflected more of how the gym was, right? So just, clean, friendly, blah, 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 all that stuff, right? And so then as time continued to go by, I was, a lot of the information that I was getting was very confusing, by the news, by Ottawa Health, by Ontario Health. It started getting very confusing. And I was like, okay, well, this is still pretty serious. Obviously, it's very serious. People are being affected dramatically everywhere on many different levels. So, I take my training seriously. I found a training partner, and we, after screening each other, I started back to training. I think that was mid to late April, and kind of continued with that and just waiting, trying to stay in shape, waiting for the day for the gym to open again. I wanted to, obviously, for me, after a while, it started to become a challenge staying home, trying to be busy, stay active. There's only so much you can do on your own. Fortunately, like I said, I found a like-minded person, somebody who's also very careful, somebody who doesn't want COVID any more than I do. And, we were just out, we just kept training with each other. And it felt good. It felt good to be back on the mats. And obviously it wasn't the same thing because nobody else was coming. But, whatever, you got to respect the rules. And then after that, when they said that we can open up on a limited basis, actually, in the meantime, before they came up with these rules and regulations for martial arts gyms, I was trying to solve the problem myself. Right. I knew what the rules were: 6 foot distance, what is it? So small social bubbles. And I came up with an idea which I thought was very good. Essentially what I did is I took tape, and everybody's doing it now, right? But again, like, I'm a problem solver. I don't like to look at problems and just say, oh, poor me, I guess I got to wait for other people to solve my problems. I don't believe in that. It's bullshit. I believe in solving my own problems. Now, I can't speak for anybody else, but I went ahead and I marked off. I marked off the gym to make sure everybody had more than enough space. And I posted, this is where it started getting really frustrating. I posted a photo of it. I think it was on Facebook. Yeah, it's on Facebook. It's still up on Facebook. And I said, hey guys, like, I just want some feedback. I'm not saying I'm opening the gym. I just want some feedback. What do you guys think of this idea? If you come in, somebody that you're already hanging out with, you stay within this area, you come in at this time, go into your area, you stay in that area. You're not allowed in the change rooms, not allowed in the washrooms. I just tossed it out there just to see what people thought. And most of the feedback was good. But there was some feedback which was very negative. And the one thing that I took away from that feedback wasn't so much that it was negative. It offered no solutions. There was a problem. Here's a problem. I'm presenting a solution. And then somebody comes along and not only shits all over it, right? But starts, I guess, in so many words, starts shaming people.
Wow.
Right.
Maybe,
right.
May I ask what their criticism was? What did they say exactly?
So essentially, what they said is that this is illegal. Oh, wow. I was like, right, I understand. I perfectly understand. Of course, it's illegal. I'm not saying we're going to do this today. We're not doing it tomorrow. We're probably not doing it till next week. I'm just saying these are the steps that I'm taking to make sure you guys are safe.
Right. You're being proactive. You're offering.
I'm being proactive. You're implementing. That's all. And that's exactly. That's all I was doing. Right. So then it took one person to go ahead and shit all over it. And of course, everybody goes silent. Nobody wants to speak up. Nobody wants to go against the current. Right. So I was okay. So that's it. I shut that down. Continue. Time goes on. We're allowed to open on a limited basis. Perfect. People start coming in. Very few people at first.
Right.
And then it starts to pick up. But I noticed that there was a common trend. It was all new people. It was people who just wanted to get out, basically. No previous martial arts experience. People just wanted to get out. Of course, I'm concerned for everybody's health, so I do everything according to the book, and then some, right? And then we get shut down again, and then we get to open again, and then so it's like this up and down wave. And then as they continue to reopen and shut down, less and less people are coming to the gym. Though if there's one thing that I've noticed is that people's habits have changed and will continue to change. Mm-hmm. And I think that they will continue to change post-pandemic, right? And the one trend that I did notice is that people don't want to come back in. Mm. Or they say they do, but it's like, it's a very strange conversation to have. It's just like, yeah, I want to come in, but I want to wait till after COVID. Okay, well, what are you doing these days? Oh, I'm going for a walk in the market. What? Like, what are you doing these days? Oh, just went back. I went out to the restaurant, the other day. It's like, holy shit. Like, okay, I understand. Yeah. Okay. Our sport is very different. Like, it's not the same as going to a restaurant. My point is that there are certain aspects in life that people want to live normally. Going out to the restaurants, going out to bars, drinking, all that. I want to do that too. And I do it. Right. Mm-hmm. But when it came to jiu-jitsu or Muay Thai, very few people were looking to come back until they found a cure for COVID. So anyways, with this, with all this up and down, and not only that, like, I mean, the financial toll that it starts to take is only so much that one can bear. Right. Like, I mean, so I essentially did some risk analysis, some risk management, and I came to the conclusion that even if they find a cure tomorrow, things are not going to go back to normal. And I don't know how long it's going to take for things to go back to normal. So I made the decision that I was going to have to close.
I'm going to, I appreciate your honesty, Jamie. And I gotta say, like, we're seeing across the country more and more gyms in various provinces taking the same decision, making the same decision, that is
Yeah.
closing because of that fact. They're doing the math and they're realizing it's just not, it's not sustainable, right? And there's, I think, a stronger case to be made logically to close now, even though the community might, it's disappointing for some. It is, not to sound insensitive by any means, but it is what it is. It's in the best interest of the owner to
Yeah.
close now and possibly wait if the plan is to reopen down the road. I'm not a business expert. I'm not a health expert. I'm just looking at this from a rational perspective. And one of the things now that we're seeing more and more gyms close, the inevitable is happening, but we're also seeing some quote unquote pockets of, I don't want to say innovation, but and we'll get into virtual teaching, because I've been looking on social media, not just locally, but looking at it provincially and Canada-wide. I see a lot of activity where gym owners are exploring have explored virtual teaching, particularly with the younger demographic, particularly with some styles of martial art. Some, I think, have been more successful than others. But I want to get into that. I know you mentioned that you were proactive from the get-go. You're a solution-oriented individual, so you implemented, ways for people to train safely. And I mean, that goes to speak on that entrepreneurial spirit of yours, of always trying to create and keep the machine going. But tell us a little bit, if we can get some history, because I also want to get a history of the gym, its story, why it was created. I think that's important to this gym's legacy in this region. Start off by telling us a little bit about your history in martial arts. Where did you get started? What style did you start with? Tell us a little bit about that, please.
Sure. So I started about 25 years ago at Bob Carver's Thai Boxing Academy. Then I stuck with it's Ajahn Bob now. I stuck with him for quite a while. I switched to MMA. The location where Arcana was at used to be Fit MMA. That was run by Craig Brown and Jason Motard. I was there for about 4, maybe 5 years, and a new instructor came in. His name is Damien Saburan. He came in and he was teaching Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'd never done pure Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at that point, but I started doing it and I just completely fell in love with it. So I stuck with it. I was about a year, maybe a year and a half after, Craig Brown wanted to shut the gym down. He wanted to close it, right? And I saw an opportunity, and the opportunity wasn't it wasn't to make money, because I'll be honest, if you want to be a gym owner, you're not going to make a whole lot of money. You're going to be happy, but we could talk about success after and how I measure success. But I saw an opportunity that there was already a very small but good group of people that I really enjoyed, people who were like-minded as far as fitness and interests go, and so I bought the gym off of Craig and I changed it to Arcana. We got rid of the MMA. I believe, and from my experience, I don't like marketing the gym as an MMA school. MMA seems to have a tendency to attract the wrong people. At least it did back then, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yes, I do.
Yeah. So then we just took the MMA out of it. We did straight Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai. So Damien oversaw the BJJ program. He was the head instructor for the BJJ program. I was the head instructor for the Muay Thai program. And from there, it kind of grew. But for sure, the biggest thing and my biggest concern was to make sure that this wasn't a place for just a few people. This was a place for everybody, right? It doesn't matter what your background is, what your economic situation is. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. What matters is that people can come in, feel safe, and be able to train. They'd be able to learn. They'd be able to do whatever it is that they need to do while they're there, right? That was super important for me, which is why no politics, right? People were coming in wearing different patches on their gis. Gracie Baja, the Machado brothers, they were coming with Allianz. It didn't matter. They can train with that gi on because, hey, if they want to continue, being promoted, or eventually they're going to go back to their home gym, right? That's fine. That's perfectly fine by us. The importance was jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai. That's it, right? And on top of all that, I made sure that everybody got a quality lesson, that there was nobody left out. Nobody was treated differently. I don't care how long you've been doing jiu-jitsu. If you're a black belt, 3rd degree, or if you're a white belt, everybody was treated the same. That's it. Because look, my whole opinion and philosophy on it is that I'm not going to get, I need a white belt to get better just as much as I need a black belt. There's nothing special about me, right? I just love to do jiu-jitsu. I need the white belts, I need the black belts, and everything in between, right? So, which is why it's just as important, right? We need that fresh blood coming in, the one that's motivated. They're the ones that are going to motivate us as well. So, anyways, and that's what the goal was, and we did it successfully. Like the one thing that I tell people, especially, if people who would come in, they would give me a bad vibe or something like that. I would tell them straight up. I said, listen, you get a 1 week free trial, and just so you know, that 1 week is for you to see what we're like, and it's also an opportunity for us to see what you're like.
Interesting.
Well, it's important.
No, that's brilliant. No, please continue. Yeah. Because if they come in and in that week they show that bad attitude, they show that they're not in it to help others, they're in it specifically just for themselves and only for themselves, it means that they're going to be injuring people. They're they're coming in with the wrong attitude. They're just going to be complete dicks, and I don't want that. Right. So, I mean, I've never had to kick a whole lot of people out. I've had to kick a few people out. I've had to ask them to leave. But you know what? I mean, for me, it was always just like, I don't think this is the gym for you, but I can recommend another gym. Right. So at least I'm diplomatic while they're on their way out. For sure. And, it's interesting, Jamie, because I just to elaborate on the culture that you guys were cultivating and instilling in the gym, I found, to be honest, the gym you ran, that was really something that was so cool about it, so positive. That's what Ottawa needs and needed, essentially, because there's so much talent in this city in terms of jiu-jitsu practitioners, be it recreationalists, competitors, you name it, at whatever belt rank, quite frankly. And, the reality of the politics, that's the reality of politics in mixed martial arts. But there was one institution in particular, one space, one organization that kind of flipped the script on that. And essentially, from what I saw and witnessed during my time, with Capital Combat Parlay, shout out to Lewis Hill, when we would go there, we would know that particular gym brought just about this huge diversity of different people in terms of different gyms, they're with this gym, that gym, or X member. And it became almost like a lab in the sense of a jiu-jitsu research and development lab where where people were trying out new techniques, where people were refining their technique for competition. So-and-so is trying to lose weight. You know what I mean? And I remember seeing that and I'm like, man, this is martial arts. This place really and truly, in a non-pretentious, non-in-your-face, non-marketed way, it organically translated that, So when I read that damn Facebook post, in my mind, I was just like, oh no, we can't lose. You know what I mean? Sorry, I don't mean to over dramatize it. Obviously, it's your business. Obviously, it's something that you care for, and you did, the best, the decision, or in terms of rational business thinking. And I know, I could imagine it's tough, and I commend you for making that decision. But on the flip side, in my mind, alternatively to that, I'm not saying there aren't lots of great gyms in this region, Ottawa Gatineau.
Mhm.
There's a ton of them. National Capital Region happens to, for whatever reason, have so much talent in teaching various styles of martial arts. But
I completely
losing,
agree.
but losing Arcana, I think, is a big loss, you know. And
Mm.
I kind of want to know, and I know your history as you're telling us about your involvement in martial arts. What's your future in martial arts? Because, like, do you plan down the road potentially, because you have a community, you have supporters, you know what I mean, former students, current students, whatever.
Mhm.
Like, do you plan potentially of reopening, maybe, you know, 2 3 years from now, who knows when, but like,
Yeah.
is right now, where's your mind at with that?
Right. No, my mind. So first, I want to agree with you that this area, for whatever reason, it produces so much talent. There's something about this area that there is so much talent, and you can go to any gym and find just some wicked talent. Right. Completely agree with you. The My plans. No, I don't have any plans on reopening. I've essentially sold off everything. I'm not. I'm keeping very little. In fact, here I'll show you my background. My basement here is all my crap from the gym, right? So whatever little bit is left, that's all I got. It's all fits down here in the corner of my basement. No, I think COVID has drained me. I think a little bit more. I know people keep asking me the same thing. You know, do I plan on reopening? Because if I do, they're gonna drop whatever gym they're at and go. And I appreciate it. The support is unbelievable. But I don't look. It was hard starting in the beginning, right? It was very hard in the beginning when I started Arcana. Like, not just financially, it was a really heavy toll, but emotionally, my marriage was taking a toll as well, because, starting any new business is very challenging, right? And what I had in mind with Arcana, again, it's not something that's going to bring in the big bucks. And especially because of how I was doing it, it was going to take longer, so be it. It didn't matter. The end result was what you got to experience, right? And so the idea of having to start all of that over, it's just, and perhaps who knows what else is going to happen. But no, I don't, right now, I don't have any plans. I don't have any plans of reopening. I don't, I've thought about it. People have asked me, and, those sleepless nights that I've had, I've wondered, maybe I should keep half the mats. Maybe I should do this. Maybe just hang on to a few of the bags. Maybe a smaller location is the answer. Maybe all these things are going through my head. Maybe a partner, maybe whatever, right? And I go through it, and it's just, it's a lot of headaches. Like the amount of Advil that I've been on, the amount of, CBD oil, the amount of whatever, just to try and manage, and when I say many sleepless nights, I mean many sleepless nights, where I go to bed, I fall asleep maybe 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm wide awake at 4:30, and the first thought is the gym. What am I going to do? Wow. What am I going to do? Right? Like, I wish I was kidding. I wish I was exaggerating, but it's not. So no, I don't have any plans right now. Again, like I've said, as people's attitudes have changed. The other thing is that, what does happen during something like this, and I commend people for it. I think that it's, people who are very dedicated to, jiu-jitsu, let's just say jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai as well, but we'll just go to jiu-jitsu. Muay Thai is, the reason I mentioned jiu-jitsu more than Muay Thai is because Muay Thai is something like, I can hang up a heavy bag in my basement. I beat the shit out of it, right? Maybe I can bring a person over every once in a while to hold pads. It's easy, but jiu-jitsu you can't do by yourself. It's not that easy. There's only so much gymnastica natural that you can do, right? But you absolutely need a partner, or preferably multiple partners, to get better at jiu-jitsu, or at least to stay in the game. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, which is why, I've noticed, there are pockets, there are these small social bubbles. People find their partners, a small group, 5, 6, maybe 7 guys or girls, and they set up a home gym. They all get together and they train together. So jiu-jitsu has done that for a lot of people. COVID has done that for a lot of people, is that it's forced them into these, but people are doing it.
Right.
So, and I think that this is something that's also, part of the decision making is just like people are, this is the new norm. Are they going to come back to a gym? Let's say I open another gym. Are they going to come back? Maybe. But why? Do they need, if they have a core group of 5, 6, 7 guys, do they need to come back? I don't know, especially with how few people, how few of the regular members wanted to come back once the regulations allowed. I don't know. I just wasn't. I'm just not confident enough to say yes, things will go back to normal. I don't see it. So no. I don't think I'll be opening another location anytime soon.
There's a lot to consider, of course, but you seem to have a very realistic, sort of your approach seems to be realistic, because you're asking very concrete questions that's not just impacting clients within the martial arts business, but it's impacting all sorts of other businesses, right?
Yeah.
I mean, predominantly the fitness industry, which martial arts is part of course, is being hit hard currently. But there's all these other businesses too that realize that this is a major turning point. Things are not going to get back to where they were. Unfortunately, a lot of these businesses happen to be small and medium-sized businesses. They happen to be, independently operated, and they're the backbone of, generally speaking, of the economy. And there's always, people want to support buying local, and people want to, of course, support, their local businesses. But with this current formula, this situation we're being thrown, it's really throwing that all out in the window. And within the martial arts community, there seems to be, I don't want to get into this topic because it's I just don't want to get into it, but some people don't even believe, like some people have mixed perspectives on COVID-19. Unfortunately, not everyone is willing to really listen to reliable sources who are talking about the reality of the situation. Like I'm sure people who may have caught it or have heard people who caught it and so on. And it's obviously a serious case. And some parts of the martial arts community are, they're doubting that for whatever reason. I mean, it's their opinion. It is what it is. But Jamie, I want to ask you, during this time, how much outreach did you do with other gym owners? Were you in touch with other gym owners to see what they were doing in terms of ensuring that they could still operate either, traditionally or virtually? Did you do much communicating with the community outside of your membership?
Yeah, I reached out to a few people just to see, and I just wanted to, mostly is just like to make sure that I understood the new regulations or whatever came out that day, whatever ambiguous rules the government was throwing at us. And I did reach out and just to make sure and I'd see how people are doing. Everybody's in the same boat. Everybody's in the same boat. I just I think. And of course, I've always supported whatever decision other gym owners make, right? Like, I mean, whether it's COVID related or whether it's like, I don't know, they have something against me personally, okay, that's fine. I support whatever it is you need. So I've always supported, decisions that other gym owners make. They're always doing it in the best interest of their students, hopefully, or definitely at least in the best interest of their gym. And people have to do what they have to do in order to survive. So yeah, like, everybody's in the same boat. This isn't a unique situation. I'm not the only one that's going through this. And it's just a matter of time before I think other gyms start dropping like flies. And you're absolutely right when you say that it's a small to medium businesses. Those are the ones that are suffering, right? We're not getting any serious support from the government. Like, everybody was saying, well, just get on the rent subsidy. Well, I did. No, I didn't. I applied for it and I didn't get on it. I couldn't get on it. right? So what support is the government throwing my way? None. That's exactly what it is. None. In fact, the only thing that they keep throwing at us without any evidence is more shutdowns, more regulations, more bullshit, right? And look, if you want to talk about COVID, I have my own ideas about it, right? But one thing is for sure is that there is a huge divide amongst the community. And I'm talking about the community in general. There are people who are 100% lockdowns. There are people that's just like, no, open up the economy, right? I'm not going to say which side I sit on this. I think it's pretty obvious, to be honest, like really. But, you know, the issues, and this is, and I don't blame people for thinking the way that they do. The problem is that there's just too much misinformation out there. There's too much nonsense that's being fed our way. And, you know, people like to think that politicians have our best interests in mind, but, you know, fuck COVID, forget COVID exists. The number one, like, maybe I shouldn't go down that rabbit hole, but let's stay away from it.
You know, yeah, it's everywhere. I mean, we see it. I don't mean to cut you off, but we see it on our social media feeds. You know, I'm sure you're seeing all sorts of stuff. I don't want to cut you off in fully, but I want to ask you in terms of, you mentioned before that people aren't going to go back to gyms, martial arts gyms in particular, for you know, grappling sports like jiu-jitsu or what have you. So my question to you, as someone who's been in these sports for 25 years, you've been a business owner of a martial arts gym for how long now?
9 years.
9 years, almost a decade. So
actually, here's the funny thing is that tomorrow, hold on. Tomorrow's the last day at the gym. December 1st would have been exactly 9 years as Arcana.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man. Jeez.
Yeah.
Like what shit, man. What is the future of that industry in your opinion? As far as we're seeing more and more people exploring virtual teaching, particularly, I mean, it works for some. I don't know what you think. I'd rather hear your opinion, quite frankly. A, what are your thoughts on virtual teaching? B, is it best for one demographic than the other? And in addition to that, what's the overarching question is, what's the future of martial arts gyms and martial arts training?
So virtual training, yeah, I think it's a great tool to have. I think it's a fantastic tool to have. I mean, you see enough people doing yoga on, you know, virtually. I've been teaching Muay Thai virtually. You know, you can't really do jiu-jitsu virtually, maybe with a grappling dummy. I haven't really explored that too much. But no, it's still not the same. You don't have somebody there, like the resistance. Like I'll use Muay Thai as the prime example here. You don't have the resistance that you do from a pad holder, right? So you're missing a key part of Muay Thai, right? The pressure that a pad holder can bring. And I'm not just talking about just being able to hold, but the footwork, for example, right? You have a pad holder that can help you with the footwork. There are certain key elements that you're missing with it. Is it good during a pandemic? Absolutely. It's a great tool to have. Is it something that we should rely on 100%? No, absolutely not. You know, if people are still nervous, and I have, I think, 2 students who are still nervous about coming into the gym physically, but it makes sense. You know, one of them has a newborn, and then the other one has her boyfriend. Her and her boyfriend go visit her father, and he's, I believe, in an old age home. Oh. So it makes perfect sense. Absolutely. You know, but the future of it is to do virtually. No, I don't think that there's much of that. How do I think this is going to end up? Well, I mean, if Costco decides to do jiu-jitsu classes, they're the only ones that are going to be around. If Walmart decides to teach Muay Thai classes, they're the only ones that are going to be around. Wow. Why not? They're the only ones that can survive through these pandemics. You know, I'm half joking, but you know, that's where the support is going to. It's big, and it makes sense. I mean, they have a lot of employees. You shut down a Walmart, how many people are going to be unemployed? It makes perfect sense, right?
Right.
So yeah, like, you know, and I'm not saying shut down the Walmart, shut down. No, I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that, the rules are bullshit. That's all I'm saying. It works for a large company, but for the smaller ones, it doesn't. You can't apply the same rules to both. Like it's bullshit. It doesn't make any sense. So yeah, like, the future of it, you know what? I was telling a friend of mine, it was James Mahoney. He owns the West Side Muay Thai.
Right.
We were chatting on the phone, and you know, we were talking about me shutting down and about him staying open and all that stuff, and how well he was doing just before the pandemic hit, right? And I was like, dude, like, I was doing, like, it was incredible how many people were signing up. This is just before the pandemic. I couldn't believe it, right? We were set to break a record again this year, and of course, the pandemic hits, and he was in the same boat, the exact same thing, and the last thing, one of the last things I said to him was, before I hung up the phone, is just like, dude, if you can hang in there, the gyms that can hang in there at the end of the pandemic are the ones that are going to do unbelievably well. Because I think that there is going to be a big rush to get back to the mats. But again, how long is it going to be? Are these gyms going to be able to last the next 3 years, right?
Well, you're forecasting that far ahead. You're looking 3 years.
Yeah, I'm expecting. Yeah, I would expect 3 years. I mean, they're talking about a vaccine, but come on, man. How much of the news do we read, and how much actually ends up happening? You know, like, I have a hard time believing any of that now. So yeah, like, based on all of the information that we've been getting and how accurate it's been since, you know, I don't see it. I don't believe it anymore. So I've lost faith in that part of our society, you know. So yeah, I think in 3 years, maybe, sure. I would say even 5 years.
No, that's interesting that you're looking that far ahead, because I think there's a lot of, I think you're right. You know, it's not going to be a quick turnaround. I think.
Well, think of it like this, right? Essentially, you're basically starting. You know, okay. So let's say, for example, we'll use any gym. It doesn't matter. They had 150 students before the pandemic. Right now, and these are real numbers. We're talking about, they have maybe 20 now that are actively training. Okay, let's say just 20. All right, so that's basically what I started Arcana with. I started Arcana with 18 students. Okay, it took 9 years before we got over 150 students.
Wow.
Now, that's slow for me. That's slow for a business. It's the way that I did it, right?
Right.
But you can have a successful business in 5 years. So the pandemic ends tomorrow, okay? And hopefully there's no gym owners listening to this, because I don't want to scare anybody, right? If anything, this should motivate you to stay open, but the point that I'm getting at is, the pandemic ends tomorrow. You have 20 students, right? How long did it take before you got your gym up to the point where you were no longer hemorrhaging money, right? A business typically takes 5 years? I was lucky. I did it in 3 before the gym started pulling in a profit, right? Not much of a profit, but it was pulling in a profit. And so yeah, so I see it and that's what I thought, what I was thinking when I was, you know, deciding what I was going to do with the gym. Okay, the pandemic ends tomorrow. Holy shit, it's like basically starting a brand new business all over again.
Right.
What am I going to do? Right. So that's why I say 3 to 5 years, is because that's what you're doing. You're starting your business all over again. You know, the nice thing is you already have location, you have the mats, you have the bags, whatever equipment that it is that you need, you have that. No, hopefully, if you're not a gym that just recently opened, like I think about my friend Joe what's his last? I only know him as Joe Cannon. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The owner of De La Costa, right?
De La Costa, yeah, right.
Yeah. So he had just opened up his gym, right, and then the pandemic hits, right? And that guy's still holding on. Like, I don't know how he's doing it. You know, but that's the, you know, and I feel for people like that. People who had just opened up. Look at Nick Castiglia, Gracie Baja down at City Center. Same thing. He had just opened up this gorgeous gym, right? And then the pandemic hits. You know, I'm telling you, like, I know for sure those guys are smarter than I am. They'll be able to get through it. You know, they're smart people. You know, and I hope that they get through it. And if they do, I think that they're gonna come out on top. But I'm pessimistic when it comes to how quickly, which is why I say 3 to 5 years.
No, you know, we definitely wish all gym owners all the best. I'm sure everyone is having equal their own challenges, and any business owner in this situation is certainly struggling, and we wish all of them the best. But no, I think your forecast of 3 to 5 is realistic and is bang on for all sorts of businesses. The entire economy is being kind of like a lot of people. I know this word gets used a lot, but there's a lot of, you know, people are redefining their business models. People are pivoting to a business model. There's room for innovation. Whenever this happens, there's always some creativity and some innovation, and there's loss. You know, there's a time to essentially shut down and move on. And for some, it might be harder than others. But one question I wanted to ask, and
Garmamie, can I just add something?
Sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, like, you're right. Like, I mean, this forces people to innovate, right? And if there's one thing that when you're forced to innovate, if there's one thing that we can take away from something like that, is that usually it's for the better. And if you're able to innovate, you come out on top. You end up being more successful. Okay. I mean, if you innovate in the wrong direction, you innovate like an idiot, then of course, you know, you're not going to be so successful. But I do want to point out that the nice thing about being in Ottawa is that we are in a bit of a bubble, right? You know, there's so many government jobs. Government workers are not going to lose their jobs. I mean, and I'm sorry if you're a government worker listening to this and you did lose your job. I'm just generalizing. I'm not being specific, or I'm not trying to be insensitive. But we do live in a bubble. You know, when was it? 8-10 years ago, when we had the stock market crash, the housing bubble crash, Ottawa got through it, no problem, right? I have a couple of real estate agent friends. They thought that they would not be able to make any money that year. They actually did better that particular year. And even now, like, even speaking to them now, is just like the housing market is still booming.
Oh yeah.
So Ottawa is in a bit of a bubble. We're protected because it's a government town. However, again, you know, it's a lot of it really is people's attitudes. But I think that you know, places like Toronto, they're going to suffer badly, and I really feel for the gym owners there, because it's totally unfair what they're doing to them.
Yeah, and it's closing across all these provinces. You know, we're seeing loss. But one of the last questions I wanted to ask you is: we speak of you know, in terms of people not being able to train. The one recurring theme that I've seen mainly on social media from a lot of people who practice various styles of martial arts, and but it applies to fitness as well. People talk a lot about mental health, the importance of being able to go and exercise at a gym, the real value of exerting, you know, of just lifting weights, or if it's grappling sports, if it's hitting someone in the face, as far as striking arts and whatnot. Like, mental health is the recurring theme. That's almost the underlying real reason why people train. It's people want to be strong, they want to be fit, they probably want to look good, this, that, and the other. Some are even wanting to compete, right? Ambition where they want to test their skills. But mental health is the recurring theme I see from a lot of recreational martial artists, competitive martial artists, and coaches. How, in your opinion, what have you seen and heard from fellow gym owners in terms of that theme of mental health? Well, what happens now to all these people who don't know what to do, you know, in terms of, sure, you know, they can go for a walk, but people, you know, you're set in your ways. You want to do fill in the blank, whatever style of martial arts, if it's jiu-jitsu, judo, sambo, Muay Thai, Savat, whatever. Like, what speak to us on mental health.
Well, I'm definitely not an expert on mental health, but what I can say, I mean, personally speaking, is as simply as that you're absolutely right. There is something to be said if and people who aren't I think everybody is active to a certain degree, right? And it could be anything. If you're a cyclist, if you're, I don't know, a longboarder, a runner, if you just fill in the blank of what it is. That it doesn't have to be specifically martial arts oriented, but it's all tied in together. Pick your most favorite thing to do in the world and then stop doing it. Or better yet, have somebody else tell you you're not allowed to do that anymore, right? It's not just the mental health aspect from the exercise. Sorry, hold on.
Oh,
it's not just, that was my phone. So it's not just the mental health aspect that we get from being at the gym and being able to do what it is that we want to do, or what we enjoy doing, what we love to do, what we're passionate about. But it's somebody else telling you, no, now you can't do that. You're not allowed to, right? And then they start throwing, again, ambiguous rules, ambiguous reasons, ambiguous, you fill in the blank. So there's many, I think that there's many different levels to this mental health issue. You have Big Brother standing over you, telling you no, putting their thumb on you, telling no, you can't do that. Well, why? Can I do it with my friend? No. Why? Well, because you guys get sick, but we're not sick, right? You can have this back and forth conversation for forever. I don't like, I'm not one to sit back and say and have somebody tell me that I'm not allowed to train, and then give me some stupid bullshit nonsense reason for it, right? I know what my limitations are. I know what my risks are. I'm an adult. I'm 44 years old, right? I've seen and done a lot of things, and all my experiences leading up to today helps me figure out what the next step is of how I want to lead into tomorrow, right? So I think that these walls that keep, these barriers that they keep setting up in front of us to tell us not to do what we're passionate about. I think it's ludicrous. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And when people, when I see people online who won't ask some of the simplest questions, if you really are passionate about it, you'll find a way to do it, and you'll find a way to do it safely. But right. Those who can, so this is the thing, is that me, like, I'm a purple belt, right? I've been doing it for a long time. I have other purple belt friends. I have a lot of blue, white belt, brown, and black belt friends. And it's easy enough for me to get a group of, a few people and, pick somebody's house, set down some mats and roll. It's easy. So my mental health isn't affected too much. But imagine, the white belt that came in, 2 months in, just made friends, right? Think about all the white belts that had come in and, absolutely love this. They've been watching Marcelo Garcia. They've been watching the UFC. They've been watching all this stuff online. And this is what they want to do. And all they do every time they go home after class, they go home, they watch YouTube. Holy shit, that's how you pull off a triangle. Oh shit, there are variations to the triangle. They do these things. Well, who do they have to train with?
Right.
They don't have anybody.
Right.
Right. Like what? Their brother, their sister, their mom, their dog. Like who do they have to train with? So they're the ones that are getting screwed out of this. I'll find ways around it. It's not a big deal. Again, like I said, I had a gym that I could go to. I can invite a few people and screen them. Hey, you been out of the country? No. You feeling sick? No. Have you been around anybody that's sick? No. Let's roll. Right. Perfect. Let's go. Right. But, the new people, do they have that opportunity? No, they absolutely don't. Right. So they're the ones that are going to suffer the most. Again, Muay Thai, same thing. There are ways of getting around it, but the new people, the people who are passionate about it, the people who got in there because they saw Sanshai, they saw John Wayne Park, they saw Bukal, they saw, go down the list. That's why they're in there. They watch the UFC. That's why they're in there. And they want to get fit. They want to get healthy. They want the stuff that we're supposed to be doing to combat the virus. And we're not allowed to be doing it. It's insane. So those are the people I feel really bad for them. Like, and I tried my best to be able to run classes and get people in there. And, by the end of it, it wasn't about the money, at this point I've gone 10 months without making a penny. So it doesn't really it doesn't make a difference to me if somebody comes and trains for free. And that's essentially what I did this last month. Is just, you know what, dude, you're new, you want to try jiu-jitsu, just come in. Don't worry about it. Just come in free till the end. And then, if maybe we can find you a place, at the end of the month after I close the gym. So yeah, mental health is really important, but it's not mental health, it's the physical health. The two are tied together.
For sure.
Yeah,
no, it's Jamie, it's we're witnessing probably the craziest time for some of us ever, right? This is people say it's an extremely unique time. It's unprecedented times. They characterize it that way. This is where we're at, and who knows where we're headed. Hopefully for something positive sooner than later. We'll see. We don't know. But I do want to appreciate you giving me this interview. I have one last question for you before I let you go. I want you to tell us, and this might be a tough one, it might be an easy one, I don't know, but tell us an Arcana story. What is the most memorable Arcana moment for you personally? Like in terms of like that moment that you'll never forget, that you think of in the most positive way, that drove your what you value as an individual, as a martial artist, as an instructor. What is that moment?
I'll tell you I think there's a few moments for sure, but I think the ones that strike me the most and the ones that make me feel the best are when somebody comes in with zero confidence. They were scared to come in. They came in, and in a very short amount of time, they became part of the Arcana family, and they were taken care of, and they enjoyed being there. I don't know how many, I've had a pile of messages coming in and people telling me, that about how, Arcana changed their lives. Whenever I hear something like that, to me, it feels good. I think the latest one was, man, this kid, he's currently, he trained this month. And so I'll just toss it out there. I don't know when you're going to post this interview, but I've made the switch. So I'll be teaching at N1. So I'll be teaching BJJ and Muay Thai at N1. And I'm going to make N1 my new home because as far as it goes, so first off, Naren is a good friend of mine. Naren and I, we started Muay Thai around the same time. And but Naren is also very like-minded. He's a like-minded person. He just wants to run a gym where people are happy. They're having fun, right? And so having that same like-mindedness makes it easy for me to transition over. So this one kid, he's I'll read you the text, man. It's heartbreaking every time he texts me, but I'm hoping, and he's not a unique case, because there have been plenty of people who have come in and with the same kind of lack of confidence. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to give you his name, but yeah. No, I'll just, and I'll paraphrase, so, because I won't read the but he'll send me a text and he'll be like, I suck with words, but thank you so much for training me up until now. I'm a bit of a spineless wet blanket at the moment, but I'll follow you to N1 to see if I can't fix that. And I think that says a lot, right?
Yeah.
Like, first off, it's that lack of self-confidence that he has, right? But he's willing to do something about it.
Right.
And I love being the person that's going to help him with that. You know what I mean? And so, a lot of the texts that I get from him, he'll say something nasty about himself, right? And it's like, dude, like, stop being, you don't get to criticize yourself with your jiu-jitsu. I get to do that. That's my job. That's what you're paying me to do, right? But it's stuff like this is a huge reason why I got into it. Like, I mean, I was bullied when I was a kid, and I think there's a lot of legit martial artists who went through the same thing, which is the reason why they got into it.
I think local martial artists have been bullied.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So if I can give this kid, the confidence that I think he deserves, man, that's why I got into it in the first place. I don't want other people, like, Jesus Christ, like, fuck, I remember when I was first starting out, when I was trying gyms out, right? Back in the day, forget about it. Somebody's going to welcome you at the door. Forget about it. The first thing people do when you walk in the gym is they size you up.
Yeah.
They look you up and down and they're like, holy shit, how long is it going to take for me to knock this guy out? Right.
Right.
That was back in the day. That was a long time ago. Right. It's not like that anymore. Thank God. Fortunately, it's not like that anymore. Right. But, it's still intimidating for people to walk into any martial art gym. Right. Especially if you're brand new.
Right.
And this kid had, the balls to walk in and say, I want to try it. And I was there. Fortunately, I was there. But yeah, this to me is the memory that I'm creating now. Is, my goal is to flip that into better words where he sees himself as more than a wet blanket. So yeah.
And you know what, I appreciate that story, and you're doing remarkable work. I think this is part of the story with martial arts instructors like yourself. We're really uplifting a community in terms of being able to instill to transfer that knowledge in whatever sport or style, but also building people up, man, giving them that confidence and so on. So that's an incredible story, and it's sad that you're closing, but it's good to hear that you're still continuing to teach more students at another gym in one. I want to thank you again for your time, and it's pretty late on a Sunday night, but thank you very much for your time, and hopefully we get to hear from you again. So all the best to you, Jamie, and thank you once again for this interview.
No problem. Thanks, Garmamie. Thanks for having me, man. Anytime you want to talk, you know that.